Man, I'm a bit disappointed. They call him this, tough guy and MMA legend, and he's supposed to be all scary in person and saying all of these things. But when we got in person, he didn't have shit to say. So I'm a bit pissed off that he's got all these Twitter fingers and is talking online, but then in person he's complimenting me, saying all these nice things about me. I wanted some action. I didn't get it today.
Why do you think that is, Jake? Why do you think he didn't talk shit, for lack of a better term?
I don't know. Maybe he doesn't want to, walk himself into a hole and embarrass himself when I beat his ass, because maybe he knows what I'm going to bring to the table. But I don't know. I'm disappointed. I wanted more of a show. I wanted more of a spectacle. But regardless of that, I'm still going to go in there and beat this guy's ass on August 5th.
What'd you think standing in front of him, Jake, physically, size, all that good stuff? What'd you make of him physically?
Yeah, he's tall. He's tall, and looks strong, looks in shape. Um, and I know it's going to be a war. I know he's going to bring a fight. This is what
Yep.
he does. I know he's tough. So I get that side of things, but I just know I'm going to outbox him on August 5th and show the world that I can knock him out like Conor McGregor couldn't do. And then I want Conor after that.
I definitely want to hit on that in a second, Jake. I was really interested in what the odds for the fight would be. FanDuel has you as a pretty sizable favorite. I mean, minus 270. Last I looked, that's a favorite to beat Nate Diaz, who is a legend in the combat sports. Obviously, are you surprised at that, Jake, or not really?
I mean, not really. I think the odds makers know it's not good to bet against me, and I've shown what I could do in the ring. I took Tommy Fury, who's been boxing since he was 6 years old, to a split decision, put him on the canvas in a really close fight,
Yeah.
and it wasn't even one of my best nights. So I think people know what I'm capable of, especially when I come in with a really good training camp, and this is a time where I'm filled with vengeance and gonna prove to the world that I'm gonna come back and win.
Yeah. Do you feel that, Jake? You obviously, when you started, they doubted you. You made so many believers, and then to go through the loss. Do you feel like a part of you wants to show people, like, hey, I am still that guy?
Yeah, no, for sure. And I want to show my audience, my fans, and the world how to deal with the loss. And I
Yeah.
said it after I lost. I said, don't judge me by my wins, because when you're winning, everything's gravy. But
Yeah.
what happens when you have to face adversity, face a challenge? And so I said, judge me by my loss, and I'm gonna come back stronger from this with a chip on my shoulder and prove to the world that I could fight back, and that I'm really meant to be here. And that's what this fight is about for me. So it's do or die.
Yeah, I mean, look, we've seen boxing stars, MMA stars who couldn't even show their faces after suffering a loss. I thought the way you handled that was incredible and really inspiring, and said a lot about you. Do you think ultimately it makes you a better fighter, and when it's all said and done, to have gone through adversity like that and not just had everything come up the way you wanted it to turn out?
Yeah, for sure. I'm going to be a better fighter because of this. I thank Tommy Fury for beating me. I learned so much from this, and I'm still learning and making changes. And ultimately, this will make me a better man in my life and in the boxing ring. And I'm going to come back stronger, and then eventually go back, get the rematch, and beat Tommy Fury.
So one day you would like to avenge that?
100%. It's going to happen. And I'm coming for you, Tommy. Do you know, Tommy, I'm coming for you. Don't get too comfortable, brother.
I love it. And you mentioned Conor McGregor before. Is that the ideal plan here? You knock out or you beat Nate, and then you go and you fight Conor?
Yeah, I'm gonna put a stint in the plans that Nate has. He wants to beat me, then go back to the UFC and fight Conor. I'm gonna knock him out, do what Conor couldn't do, and then Conor's gonna have no choice to make the biggest fight in combat sports, which would be me versus him, as long as his boss and his dad lets him do it. So that's what's funny about it, is he's gonna have to get permission. But I'm my own boss, and I get to make my own decisions. And I would love to see that fight and make that fight happen.
I would too, as a fan. Boxing, is that worth it? Ideally, boxing?
For sure. 100%. Or we could do a 2-part series, one boxing, one MMA and PFL.
Wow.
Make it happen, no problem.
That's something obviously a lot of people don't offer. They don't offer to go over to MMA, in exchange for a boxing match. Any invite to Conor? Would you extend an invitation for him to come watch you and Nate on August 5th?
Yeah, I mean, look, he's always welcome. He's always welcome, and he could see his dad Nate Diaz, who beat his ass in the ring, and he could see who's about to beat his ass. So it could be a great night for him to be a fan. I know he's going to be tuned in anyways, watching on his phone, whether he's going to admit it or not, because he seems to pay attention to all the moves that I make and reply to me on Twitter all the time, saying things about me. So I'm glad he's a fan of mine.